Good morning, everybody. Toast to you and all you do. I hope you're having a fantastic day today. It feels like it's been a long time since I made a video. It's just because I was making videos so often, and now it's like, whatever. So I have to start out by saying one of those reasons. Over the Christmas season holiday, I make pecan brittle, and I splattered some on my thumb, and I got third-degree burns on there. And then when I went to try to flick the 300-degree candy off, I actually flicked it on my face. So I have third-degree burns on my face. It's ridiculous. They're healing nicely. Everything is going well. You know, just one of those things. What's really funny is I'm allergic to pecans. So when I make it for my family and like teachers and stuff like that, and everybody's like, you don't have to make it. It's okay. My husband's going to get me a Teflon gloves and a welding mask, he says. It's funny. Anyways, I hope everybody had a hazardous-free holiday season. There is a lot going on astrologically right now. So I imagine a lot of people are feeling the buzz, you're feeling the energy, you're feeling something going on. One of the big things that's happening right now is Venus is in retrograde, which can be really stressful for two major reasons. Because Venus rules over our love life and our finances. And when Venus goes into retrograde, it has a tendency to disrupt those kind of things. So you might be feeling disruption in your financial systems. You might be feeling like, I almost want to say like inadequacies in love and finances, and like, I need to do something more, or something's not happening, or, you know, so you're feeling that stress. We're feeling that stress as a society on a global scale. Like, this is something that's really coming up, this financial crisis that the world is in right now. So I have that energy really brewing, and I think on an individual level, like, it's one thing to think about, okay, on this global scale, but it's a whole nother thing when it's, you know, you're thinking about your own self. And so that's part of the stress that we're feeling right now. And also Venus is conjunct with Pluto, so it's bringing in these deep secrets, deep meanings, deep thoughts, passions. So in our relationship world, it can make things maybe feel more obsessive, or it can have the opposite effect, and there's like a lack of that connection. So those are kind of being highlighted. And so for married couples, this can be a really stressful time, because there's that pressure on your love life, and then there's that pressure on your finances. And as any married person knows, those are the two biggest stressors in a marriage. And so those things are going to be kind of highlighted right now. And like I talk about with all retrogrades, yes, they can be very overwhelming. They can be stressful. They can be times where like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. But if we look at the problems that are being highlighted and seek for the solutions, just as you're being shown the problems, so are the solutions there. So too are the solutions there. So we have both of those. It is two sides to the coin. You just have to use your perspective to be able to see both sides. So just keep that in mind as these stressors come up. This is a good time for communication. We also have Mercury right now coming into play. Mercury goes into retrograde soon. Mercury enters Aquarius. So that's going to help you communicate for the big picture. And Mercury is also conjunct with Saturn. So it helps to, well, not quite conjunct, but they're in the same house, in the same zodiac sign, not house. They might be in the same house depending on where you are in the globe, but that changes. So anyways, so Mercury is going to bring in these flows of communication, and then it can help you to kind of work through this. Let's see what else is going on astrologically, because it's one of those times when the universe is telling us that it's time to open up. It's time to see things from a higher perspective. We have Uranus not only square with Saturn, which has been happening for a long time, but at this point, Uranus is taking the high road in that square, where Saturn has been for so long. Now Uranus is moving into that position, which is going to kind of shift things from that top-down power to more of a internal power. Like, I am seeking my own internal authority. I'm seeking my own validation. I am seeking my own place to find authority from. And which plays in with the Capricorn dark moon that we're about to have. Oh, my stuff's blowing away. I'm trying to read it while I'm talking. It's also freezing outside. Anyways, so Uranus in this square with Saturn is going to cause some disruptions, and we're going to see that. But because Uranus helps you to see things from a higher perspective, it helps you to see things from that more noble, grander place. It can help to show you how you can take the steps to take that inner authority, how you can build your self-confidence, how you can become the person that you want to be by making those changes. We also have the Uranus is trine with the sun right now and the moon, because the sun and the moon are conjunct. It's a dark moon. So Uranus is trine with the sun and the moon, which again is going to... All right, let's take one little step back. So in the square angle, it causes tension, and it shows you or highlights where there is tension, and it might bring that up. That's why it's disruptive in that square with Saturn. It's disruptive of that top-down authority. Saturn really represents the social, like, justice almost. Social, yeah, we'll say like karmatic justice, those kind of places. And so you're going to see a disruption in that, and we're going to feel that. Now, in the trine, this is a beneficial angle, and so it's going to bring up positive influences. So in that higher conscious awareness, it's going to help you to see yourself from that higher conscious, from that, higher perspective, give you that hindsight, 2020, whatever, all of those things to help you see these issues so that you can, think outside the box and really create a new solution and shake things up in a positive way. So we have Uranus doing all of this shaking up. And we have Venus in retrograde that's really putting some hard focus on your finances and your love life, which is stressful, so that's shaking things up. We also have Jupiter entering into Pisces, and this is going to go really fast. Normally Jupiter is in Pisces for a long time, but this one's going to come pretty quickly. And so it brings on this expansive thought of our deeper internal self. Pisces is that deep, dark internal workings. And so when Jupiter comes into there, this big grand energy, this expansive sending out kind of energy, it again is highlighting that expanding something from the depths. And so you are going to feel really motivated to honor your own feelings, to expand your consciousness, to expand your awareness, and to, again, take that inner authority. And Mercury in Aquarius, like I said before, is going to help put all of those pieces together. It's going to help you see that perspective, going to bring everything together. So we have all of these planets really bringing everything together. And ironically, if you look at the natal chart for this dark moon coming up, all of the zodiac, or all of the planets are on one side. They all are very close to each other right now. I have a list. Hold on. So we have Mars in Sagittarius. Right next to that, we have Capricorn with the sun and the moon and Venus and Pluto. So they're all conjunct. That's, again, why there is so much emphasis on this Venus retrograde. It's because they're right there next to each other. And then if we go to Aquarius, which is right next to Capricorn, we have Mercury and Saturn in Aquarius. Then right next to that is Pisces. We have Jupiter and Neptune. And then over in Taurus, we have Uranus. So, Uranus is kind of over there, but it's in its retrograde. It's in that earth sign, and it's really bringing up these depths again. Uranus is trudging through the muddy muck of the water, and it's bringing these things up to the surface, and it's really churning things. And it's doing that all over because it's trine with the sun and the moon and Venus and Pluto, technically, because they're all in that same house. The degrees is a little off for the Venus Pluto, but they're pretty close. So it is influencing that in that same way. So there's just all of this influence, all of it saying hey, see the bigger picture, find inner authority, know that you have the power to achieve the things that you want to achieve, and you have to take the steps to do that. And then we have Cryon, which is one of the micro little planets that doesn't show up in the natal chart, and I didn't draw it in my natal chart, so I didn't look. But it is square right now with the sun and the moon, and then that's going to influence the healing stuff. Cryon is the healing planet. We are at a place where we really need this healing, and at this square, again, it's a conflicting angle, but we cannot just see the conflicts as problems. We have to see them as solutions. And so this can really highlight the places where we need to make those changes. And so in your personal life, on our global life, and all of these places, it's just going to encourage you under this dark moon to really think about, what can I do to heal myself so that I can find the inner authority and the strength to be the person that I need to be and want to be and that is right to be, and all of those things, and expand that. So one last note on the general astrology before we get into the specifics of the Capricorn moon. Mercury, this very fast moving planet, is about to do a bunch of stuff. So this week it starts its conjunct with Venus, which again is going to highlight the communication that you need to be making in your relationship and in your finances. So this is really important for married couples. Now is not the time to stress about these things, but to communicate about them. And Mercury is really going to lend itself to that. So have those open communications to talk about the finances and your love life and the things that you need to do. If you're not in a relationship or you don't want to have that conversation with your spouse, you need to write it down. You need to think about that and process it and really get that out there, because that's what Mercury is going to encourage you to do. And if you don't take it to that positive place of productive communication, there's a chance that it could erupt into a fight or something that you don't want it to be. So take the initiative to say, hey, let's talk about where we're at financially. Let's talk about where we are at in our love life. Let's talk about what we're doing and how we're going to continue to be productive and move forward and successful as a team. Remember, you're a team. And then let's see. Then it... on the 30th, so today, it continues to deepen communication because it becomes conjunct with Pluto. So all of three of these things are right now right there next to each other. So we have this deep communication with this Venus retrograde. And then be careful to avoid gossip, because again, when we get into those deep conversations, it's easy to get into the drama and feed on that gossip. So just stay out of that right now. On the 2nd, when the full moon comes, Mercury moves into Aquarius, which is going to help us to see that bigger picture like I was talking about. And then on the 14th, it goes retrograde. So it's going to move through all of these places real quick. It's going to heighten communication. It's going to say you need to do this. It's going to really support that. And then it's going to go retrograde, and it's going to point out all of the places you didn't listen. Sometimes I think of Mercury like that family member, an uncle, a grandpa, a cousin, whatever, who's like, this is what you should do. And then when you don't listen, they're like, I told you. So just keep that in mind as we go into this before it hits retrograde. If you address the things that need to be communicated with now while it's in these positive trines and conjunctions, it will help come through that Mercury retrograde without feeling like Mercury retrograde. And then, so we already talked about that. So then we have the Capricorn moon, which is on the 2nd. Let's see what time it happens at. Oh, it's not on this list because this is the end of this one. I have to get the new important dates out. That's the goal for today. We're going to get the important dates out. So you should be able to find that on the hollowedstonesrealm.org. Anyways, we have Capricorn moon on the 2nd, and Capricorn is the sign of organization, of let's make a plan, let's stick to it, let's get these goals met, let's do this. And when it comes in with this new year and we have this fresh start, and it's the first dark moon of the season, which is that birthing moon almost, so the goddess gave birth on Yule, and she took this time of darkness, and now is her first rebirth after giving birth. And so she begins her healing process. and she begins to move into her crone state. And we have this wise, productive energy that has wisdom to share with you. And it comes into Capricorn, which is like the fatherly, let's get this done, the good boss, the organizer. So it can really help you to find the self-discipline and do the things that you need to do. The other thing about Capricorn is that it helps you create boundaries, healthy boundaries. And so when we begin to think about how we interact with the world around us, or how we treat ourselves and in these relationships and who we want to be and all of those things, you have to remember to have healthy boundaries. And so Capricorn can help you to set those healthy boundaries so that you can achieve the goals, so that you can be successful and do all of that. So this dark moon is a really great time to set up goals, to plan for this is what I want this year to come. You know, we talk about New Year's resolutions. Well, this dark moon is that dark moon. This is the time to set those resolutions, to say, I'm going to set this goal. I'm going to make this change and I'm going to do it. And there's, you know, lots of different spell work you can do. Candle magic is really great for this. Sympathetic magic, where you maybe draw a picture of what you want your success to be and put that on your altar and visualize that and really achieve that. So these are the kind of things you can do. Meditation is great. You can call on this energy to help you meditate, to give you the inspiration you need or the guidance that you need in order to make those changes. Like maybe you have a goal, but you don't know how to get there. So this would be a great time to meditate on that and seek that advice from your guides or the planets or the moon and all of that stuff. So, really, it's just this grand energy right now of starting fresh, of starting new. We have so much disruption going on, so much see this from a higher perspective. Like, step back, allow that higher perspective to be shown to you clearly so that you can say, okay, I see my picture from a higher perspective, and now I'm going to make these changes. I had a great meditation on Yule, actually, about... I went into my meditative state, and there is this glowing being. You can't see my whole body, but it's a monkey. It's a glowing monkey. And in the meditative Zen chakra balancing, whatever, you can't see my whole self, so it wouldn't make sense. But, you know, one hand up, one hand down, and their tail and swoopy, and it's really awesome. Anyways. And then overlooking behind them is a hill overlooking this grand maze. And it was very much like, because I'm working on moving forward and, you know, taking those next steps in my spiritual practice and helping to share that knowledge with the world, and really asking over the last year or so, what are the steps that I need to take in order to be a more productive teacher, in order to be a more productive healer and community leader and all of those things. And one of the things that just keeps coming to me is that I need to make those steps in my spirituality on a personal level that are of like that next step, so that I can move forward and help teach the things that I've already learned. So in asking about this and working through that and whatnot, I have this really cool visualization and seeing the like labyrinth that I must enter into so that I can reach the center where I, you know, achieve my goal. Not quite sure what the goal is. Enlightenment, whatever, something. There's like a glowing orb of amazingness at the middle. We'll see when we get there. But this visualization was just one of those steps. Like, this is a way for me to connect with my guides and for them to show me, okay, well, the first step that you need to work on is your insecurities. And then we'll see what happens next and kind of go from there. And as you have visualizations like this, or you do meditative journeys like this, you'll find those things reflected in your real world. So there were productive moments where I could have conversations with supportive people to help me move forward in this healing process. And this energy that's happening astrologically right now, like the universe itself, is lending itself to this kind of healing. And there are, I think that everybody can always find healing like this, and seeing the higher self and being able to move into this productive forward momentum kind of healing, growing, learning process, whatever is your next step. But the universe is really lending itself right now to you achieving that and finding that higher success. One of the zodiac ladies that or astrology people I follow talks about that this is the time when we're moving from the 3D into the 4D. We're moving from this physical self and this only understanding ourselves in this physical being into a place of universal consciousness and being able to see ourselves and our energy and the world from this higher perspective. And we are entering into this grand exchange of energy between us and the universe. And for those who are open and willing and able and wanting to communicate with that, I think some people get the energy even though they don't want it, and so they feel that overwhelmingness. But just like with most things, if you look into it and you figure out why, there's a reason that it's calling to you like that. So the universe is really lending itself right now to healing, to growing, to seeing yourself from the perspective of the gods, and looking down and being able to see, oh, you are doing a good job. Here are the things that you can do better. Here are the paths that you can take. Here are, whatever it may be for you. If you take that time to almost ingest that universal energy and help it, nurture you and help you grow, you will find that success. So, yeah, with that being said, I feel like everybody's like, got a list of things you gotta go do. So start thinking about that list. Start thinking about what the things are that you want to accomplish, not just in the next year, but in your lifetime or in your spirituality or at work or something specific, whatever's calling to you. But let that universal energy help you make that success. Let this Capricorn moon help you to make the plans and organize and get ready for that success. And let those pieces all kind of fall into place, because they're coming. Like, the puzzle pieces are all getting put into place, and now you just have to see the big picture and go with it. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I'm always here to answer questions and whatnot. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter, and I hope everybody has a blessed dark moon, and we will see you guys all soon.